Curtis Calhoun here with MMA News, and my next guest is another big fight coming up, Bellator 297. It's Corey Anderson joining me today. How's it going, Corey?
Good. How about yourself, Curtis?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks again for the time. I really do appreciate it. First things first, man. I've been seeing you put in the work on your Instagram page here and there. It looks like you're really excited to get back in the Bellator cage. I guess where's your mind at right now? How pumped are you to get back in there?
I'm just ready to go out there and put on a show and get back to the old state of mind. Show up and show out, So not so much worried about impressing any promoters, not worried about impressing the fans, just going out there and impress myself, do exactly what I know I'm capable of doing and what I usually do in the gym and what I used to do in the cage and put on a spectacular performance.
Is that a mindset that you've had to kind of develop over time in a way in terms of, proving to yourself that you can do certain things and not so much proving other people wrong and so on and so forth?
It's actually the mindset I had coming into the fighting game when I started fighting in 2013. That was always my model, show up and show out. They tell me to sell tickets. Like, I don't sell tickets. I show up and show out. My fights sell tickets. I do not sell tickets. If you want me on your card, put me on the card. If not, whatever. That was always it. Then when I got to UFC and the politics got into it and it got to the point where you had to impress the president to move forward or you had to be exciting or move the needle and stuff like that, that's when the mindset started to change. Like, okay, maybe what I'm doing ain't enough. I got to start doing stuff to be exciting and prove people wrong or be exciting. Then when I was trying to be exciting, they're like, oh, of course, just a one-trick pony. He's this. And it was like, then I had to start proving people wrong. Oh, I'm more than a one-trick pony. And then I'm just back full circle to the beginning. I'm like, man, we don't worry about what people talk about. Don't worry about what people say. The promoters don't care. Scott Coker, Mike Hogan, all those guys cool with the way I'm doing my thing. Go out there, do what you do, show up and show out, and just get that W any way you can.
You feel like some fighters nowadays kind of fall into that trap of having to, impress the promoter and like you said, like in the UFC, obviously you're looking to impress Dana White and all that. Do you feel like a lot of fighters get sucked into that track?
100%. I mean, it's what you have to do. Look at Kobe Covington. They got his whole persona changed for social media. But like everybody I talk to, I never met him personally, but everybody I talk to say he's like a super cool. He's like a very humble guy, nice, very caring. And like you can see like that guy that just fought a couple weeks ago in the UFC and said Kobe used to bring him food to the gym when his family abandoned him and stuff like that. But then the image you got to put on his image to make people talk about you. You got to move the needle and you got to put on these new performances, perform different and fight different to make them excited, to make them want to put you on the main card and to promote you for a pay-per-view. So yeah, everybody sees that because you talk to anybody, like I love Bellator and I tell anybody I talk to, it's like definitely the best organization to go to, the money, the way they treat you, everything is so much better. But if you go to any gym right now, random Joe Blow gym and ask some kid what's your goal, they're going to say to get to the UFC. And it's what they see is promoted on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and what this image you have to be to do and be like, even like in the UFC summit, the Bud Light ambassador, promoter, whoever he was, he talked to us when I was in the UFC at the summit and told us all, like, everybody want to make more money and get to the title, but nobody want to be like Conor McGregor. You want to make more money, you want to get the title shots, be like Conor McGregor. And I was like, you're just telling you, like, you got to talk up a good game and you got to talk and bag it up when you perform and you got to have the president like you and everybody like you. That's the only way you're going to make money. So everybody want to get that lifestyle. So they want to do that. You got to change the image. You got to be exciting. You got to make people talk about you.
What have been some of the biggest differences you noticed in terms of how Bellator has treated you versus how the UFC treated you? Because it just seems like you're so much happier and in such a better place. Not saying you weren't in a good place before, but it just, kind of the positivity and the energy kind of radiates off you now. So kind of what's the biggest difference between those two promotions?
Best way I can break it down to anybody when they ask me, like my friends personally, honestly, like I said, my beef with them is over now. I squashed it, buried that hatchet. But when I look back at it, it was more kind of like if you were in like a penitentiary, cellmate number, what's your number? You're known by a number. You're not known by a name. As for like, they know your name, but unless you're Conor McGregor, John Jones, maybe a Kevin Holland, somebody that's exciting. Even Kevin Holland, I can see they would probably throw him on the back burner eventually because he's not like putting on dominant fights every time, but he's a hot name right now. He's one of those guys that's exciting. He's promoted himself, but I don't think he's the type. He didn't change his image. That's just who Kevin Holland is. And as for Bellator, it's like I've watched them work with some kids that come on, it's like their second pro fight ever that they on the card, and watch them like fight week, how they deal with them the same way they deal with me when I was fighting for the title, or the same way they dealt with Nemkov and everybody else. Like everybody gets the same treatment. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you selling this many tickets. It doesn't matter if you're the main event. Is you're a person. Your name. What's your name? We're gonna treat you like who you are. You're gonna get your per diem. You're gonna get your money. Everything get treated through fight week. Any questions? Here's my number. My first event, Mike Hogan personally reached out to me like, "Yo, if you want to do any ticket stuff, I'll handle the ticket stuff for you. You let me know. Tell whichever one of your family members that want to get tickets, they can contact me, so you don't have to deal with that. I'll make sure everybody's intact and in the same section just for you. I'll make sure they're not scattered all over the arena. Everybody's going to be in one section for Corey Anderson. So anybody that has any questions and do that, give them my number. And this is Mike Hogan, who's almost the VP of Bellator, one of the higher ups. And like when I told my boy, that's who he was talking to, he's like, wait, so I'm talking to like a Dana White type dude of Bellator? Like, yeah. He's just cool like that? Like, just that cool. Told me to give you a number. And like, I'd never even had a conversation with Dana like that myself. So it's just that alone, that meant a lot to me when I came over here, because it was so much easier if I had any questions, any concerns, anything, just reach out to Mike Hogan, Scott Coker, whoever directly. And if they missed a call, they'll text me back within 2 minutes, like, oh, I'm in a meeting. Or they'll have Gloria or Marie or one of the other ladies, Carrie Ann, message me. I said, Marie, Carrie Ann, and another lady hit me up, like, or Jane, hey, Corey, Mike told us you called. What's the question? What's up? How can we help you? Or Mike, whoever it is dealing with the emails, they always get back to you right away. You never left on a cliffhanger. And that means a lot to me, because especially when you're in camp and you're dealing with so much, you know what I mean? It's like, you don't want to get to fight week and find out something isn't completed. You're trying to focus on the fight solely. You don't want to worry about fights, tickets, my medicals, everything cool. Yo, what about this? What about that? Oh, nobody answered me. I'm worried. I don't know what I got to do. I just pick my phone up and call, and they get back to me right away.
Absolutely, man. And I got to ask you a little bit about the stylistic matchup with Phil Davis, obviously another guy with a lot of experience. How do you see this matchup stylistically, and what he's proven over his career?
I mean, he's a vet. I'm a vet. He's been a little longer than me. Stylistically, you look at teletape. Teletape is going to be pretty much identical, about the same reach, same leg reach, same height. My weights are about the same. We both right there at the 205 mark. We're both good wrestlers, both athletic. We both can scramble. I think it's just going to come down to, typical wrestler versus wrestler, the wrestling getting older, who's got the better striking. And it's kind of like a chess game. You got to make your best move your next move. It's just got to be smart.
You and Davis are two veterans of the fight game. And I got to ask you, like, what's something that you wish you knew earlier in your fighting career that you know now? Like, what's one thing that kind of helped, change the trajectory of your career and get you in the right mindset?
It ain't a game. It's a business. And everybody call it the fight game, the fight game, the fight game. It's not a game. It's a business. Like, you can't just, like, if I play it like a game, like I did in the beginning of my career, just taking fights willy-nilly here and there, always saying yes, 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 becoming a yes man, just getting these fights short notice. Yes, it got me ranked in the top 10 within the first year of my career in the UFC, but at the same time, it backfired on me later in life when I was trying to be a businessman. I would say no. It was like, you said yes so many times. Now when I said no, it was like a fight. It was an argument. Then it was like an uphill battle all the time. It wasn't just, I have to go out there to fight. I got to go out there to prove something. Like I said, you had to go out there and prove things. So if I would have known early off, like, it's a business, don't treat it as a game. It's a business. Don't just, and David Branch told me this, like, before the Ultimate Fighter, I believe he said it. It was before the Ultimate Fighter or after I won in my first fight. I remember we was in the locker room getting changed. I said, man, I'm taking any fight I can. I don't care how much money I make. He said, don't ever say that. Because it's a business. I didn't listen to him until years later. It is a business, man. If you just take anything, they're going to take advantage of your whole career. Once you do it once, they're going to expect you to do it every time. And it was the truth. When I got towards the end of my career and I started valuing myself, it was too late. Like, you just took all these fights for nothing. We're not giving you nothing now. Like, this is what you're going to get. I was seeing guys that were coming to UFC or signing any organization with 4 or 5 fights, and I had 13, 14, and they was making double what I was making just show money. Like, yo, how does that work? Like, they negotiated. Like, wait, you could do that? I was like, wait, hold on. You had opportunity to say you wanted more? Like, I'm gonna try that. But by the time I tried, I was on my fourth contract. It was like, no, this is what you're getting now. So anybody tells, like, it's a business. Treat it like a business, like anything. Don't sell yourself short. Somebody call you for a product. Yo, can I get a discount? Nah. You want it cheaper? Go somewhere else. Same thing. You want a cheaper fighter? Pick somebody else. Like, that's not my price. Yesterday's price is not today's price. And if you realize that when you get into the game earlier, it's like your mind says it's going to be set because you know your worth from the beginning. You value yourself already. And that's going to make you go out there and put on that much better performances. And after each fight, you're going to know exactly what to expect. If they try to call you on low ball, nah, I'm cool. Sit out. You know what I mean? You don't have to fight every time they call you. But you got to live and learn. And I've been in the game 10 years. And I didn't realize it until 8 years later.
Yeah, and I saw you got some work in recently with David Branch. Just kind of talk to me a little bit about how valuable he's been during your career, in and out of the cage, all that.
I mean, the first weekend I was ever in New Jersey 9 years ago, 2014. Mark Henry took me down to dinner. I got this guy I want to spar, really good. He's a veteran, been in UFC World Series. He's the champ right now. He's gonna help you a lot. And he wasn't joking. Like, he drove me down at that time. And after that, every weekend or every Thursday, I called Brent and said, yo, what y'all doing? We spar on Thursdays. I would drive down to New York with him and Liam McGeary, and we would train every Thursday consistently, every day, every camp, every Thursday. And we've been now we're to the point like we're both veterans. 10 years for me, he's been in like almost 20, I would say. Not to call him old or nothing, but like when I could sit and pick his brain. Like yesterday, he came up for my final spar. We sparred, and after we drew, and it's like he's still teaching me so many things. Like, he's such a high level black belt when it gets to the ground. If I take guys down or getting guys down or with striking, whatever it is, he's always got some knowledge. Like, you just like, dang, I never thought about that. Like, yeah, check my fight with Lewis Taylor. He did it over and over and over. I go back and watch it. Like, dang, he right. That's exactly what he did. Or my fight against Jotko, whatever. Go back, look like, dang, he did. It's just he's so knowledgeable because he's been around for so long. But he came up under Renzo Gracie. That was always a jiu-jitsu guy. And John Danaher. So on the ground, he's like immaculate. His brain, like when he talk, like I watch him teach his classes on Wednesday. I go up there now on Wednesdays and train with him and watch him teach class before we train. And it's just even the way he speaks so intelligent and intellectual when he's breaking things down to where everybody in the class can understand, whether it's an advanced move or it's a beginner move. And it's like I said, from the beginning, when he told me it's a business and different things, he's always telling me, texting me, calling me, and letting me know, which is all that stuff goes far. You know, he said something to me yesterday that resonated. That's going to help me so much more in the rest of my career. And it's just like he always has that knowledge. It's just like he knows what to say at the right time.
Absolutely, man. A few more questions for me. Once again, I really do appreciate the time. I know we're getting close to fight night, so I really do appreciate it. I got to ask you, like I've been saying for a bit, that Bellator, the roster that they have right now is arguably the best it's ever been, pretty much from top to bottom. You got talent in all the divisions, and you got guys like, Vadim Nemkov, Johnny Evelyn, the top champions that are arguably better than the UFC champions in their divisions right now. So I guess, like, where do you feel like a guy like Nemkov could fit in if he was in the UFC light heavyweight division? Like, how do you feel like he would stack up against some of the top UFC light heavyweights?
He'd definitely be up at the top. You know what I mean? If not the champ. I've said it before. Before I fought Nemkov, the only person over there in UFC I feel it will be the champ soon. There isn't a champ yet. He should have fought with the champ last with Maga Ankala. Like, I've trained with him a few times in camp. We shared camp together. He's a monster. Like, I've trained with other heavyweights in the UFC. I've fought the other top guys in the UFC, and there's nobody I ever trained with that has movement, who has striking, who's just so well rounded. Like, even though he's not a ground guy, if you go to the ground, he can handle himself on the ground. He can maneuver you and control you on the ground really well. He's got great takedown defense. It's just all around, like all rounds. Whenever we get together, the two camps, and another time I was out in Vegas and we just trained together. He's just so good. It's just like I tell everybody, like, yo, it's like if it's 1 and 2 in the world of land, I'm telling you, it's me and him. Like, people seen us spar at the PI before, and everybody said, like, yo, those rounds was crazy. Nobody ever came here and went like, and we just go at it. He's just that good. Like I said, Yuri Prochazka, he's wild and he's exciting and he's very marketable and crazy like that. But technical wise, he has nothing on my ankle. From watching his fights to what I see, he has nothing on Ankalaev. So 100%, I feel. And him and Vadim, think fought back in the amateur days, back in
Yeah.
Russia,
Mhm.
and he beat Vadim by decision. So I think, like I said, he would be in the tie. It would be us. If we all three had a fight in the tournament, it would be us three at the top for sure.
Absolutely, man. Last question for me. When you look at how this fight plays out, I guess what are the headlines going to be reading after Corey Anderson gets his hand raised at Bellator 297? What are we going to be talking about?
And Corey Anderson getting that W in dominant fashion. Did we see a glimpse of the old Corey Anderson again? He went out there and in dominant fashion, like he said, he went out there and did what he planned to do. That's what I'm expecting. I don't expect this to finish. I don't care how it is. I just plan on imposing my will, doing what I do, and focusing on that. Just focus on the one mission and the one game plan. And that's just dominate.
Absolutely, man. Well, before we wrap things up here, I'll give it the final word to shout out any sponsors you're working with, shout out teammates with fights coming up. I'll give you the final word, man.
Shout out to all my sponsors. So many sponsors, so many different businesses. Can't remember them all off the top, but thank you, everybody, all of them that's seeing this. My teammates, I got a bunch of teammates that's fighting the same day as me here in Jersey for CFFC. We got Luke Fernandez, Eric Nolan, CJ Lafargia. There's just so many guys that's been training all those guys. David Branch, thank you. Chris Hayes, all the people I've worked with throughout this whole camp, from Vegas, went out to Vegas with those guys fighting in PFL. I mean, it's just I've been putting in so much work and working with so many people with just so many names and sponsors. It's hard to remember them all. I just want to say thank you to everybody. Very appreciative. My fans, supporters, family, friends. Everybody's been involved in my career, not just this camp. Thank you all. It all means so much. And we're going to go out there June 16th and do what we usually do. Go out there like the old Corey. Just have fun.
I love it. Well, Corey, it was great to meet you. Great to chat with you. All the best with this final few days before the big fight. And I'm sure we'll chat again soon, man. Thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good one.